Hey there, my fellow intellectuals. How are you doing today? Kyle here with another video. And today what I want to talk to you guys about is my spring quarter here at UC Irvine. We just had week one this past week, so I have an idea of what my schedule is going to be like for the next several weeks or so. And I thought I would tell you guys about it because this is one of my more busy quarters that I've had in recent memory. And I think it can give you guys an idea of just sort of what it's like to teach and do research and try and balance some other things in the mix as well. So let's just get into it, shall we? The things that I want to talk to you guys about today are my teaching assignment, the proposal that I'm writing for a telescope, a paper that I want to publish, and self-studying. So let's just start off with the teaching assignment. So this quarter, I've been assigned to teach a lab class. It's a lab class that focuses on particle and wave phenomena, and it's aimed specifically towards biomedical students here at UC Irvine. And so it's essentially a virtual lab in the sense that we still can't go into campus because of the coronavirus pandemic restrictions. And so what this means is that the lab is essentially me being in a Zoom call with the students for 3 hours a week, and I have 3 separate sessions, so that's 3 sessions of 3 hours each. And then the lab is basically, we give them the data and the results that they would have received if they actually did the lab. And they have to go through this lab template essentially and answer questions regarding the theory and what they would have expected, and to make some plots and graphs and stuff of that nature. So it's kind of like reverse, where instead of starting at the beginning of the lab and setting things up and doing the lab and getting the results, it's like we give them the results and the data and then we make them go backwards, sort of. I mean, it's kind of strange, but I understand that that's sort of the best that we can do given the circumstances of the pandemic. And so I'm not really complaining about that, but it does seem a little bit strange when I think about it. So yeah, that's essentially my assignment. I didn't specifically request this class. I tried to push to request a astronomy-based intro class that was going to be taught this quarter, but I think due to low enrollment, some of those classes didn't even need a TA after all. So unfortunately, I just didn't get the choice that I wanted, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you want to request a class to TA and you just don't get it. And so you just take what you can get, right? Because how else are you going to get paid, right? I mean, unless of course you have a fellowship or a grant, but that's besides the point. You know what I mean? So next up, let's go on and talk about proposal writing. So this time of year, spring, is actually a very busy year for anyone in the fields of astronomy and astrophysics, because this is usually when telescopes, observatories throughout the world are going to open up their proposal writing period, where you essentially have to write a proposal asking the observatory to look at an object for you. So for those of you guys who may not know, I use a telescope known as ALMA, and I have here the ALMA Cycle 8 2021 Technical Handbook here. And I also have the ALMA Cycle 8 Proposer's Guide here. So what these are documents that help people like me who want to propose for time on ALMA, help them set up their observation plan and strategy. And they also instruct you on how to actually submit the proposal and what the formats are, and what you should and should not include and stuff of that nature. So proposal writing is a very big thing in all aspects of academia, because typically you'll have to be writing proposals to, get a grant, or maybe apply for a fellowship, or in this case, applying for telescope time so you can actually get data from these telescopes. And the telescopes and the observatories are really oversubscribed in the sense that there usually is like a factor of 2 to 4 more time requested from people than there was actual time for the telescope to give out and look at objects. And so these proposals are very competitive in the sense that, everyone wants to, make their case for their specific science goal. And you have to somehow convince a telescope allocation committee to, buy your arguments and buy into your science goals over someone else's. So they can be very competitive. ALMA's is due on April 21st, so I am going to be quite busy until now and then trying to get a good proposal ready to submit and make our case for some awesome science to do. So yeah, that's essentially what's going on there. I'm not going to reveal what's in the proposal just because I don't want to give out any free targets to anyone who wants to scoop us. But yeah, that's essentially going to be on the agenda for a while. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about paper writing. So some of you guys may know I had a goal last quarter to finish a paper by the end of last quarter, and that unfortunately was not met, and it was not met due to a number of reasons. Probably the main reason was that I didn't have a working research computer for a good portion of last quarter because my research computer essentially stopped working. The solid state drive just gave out on me. Thankfully, I had everything backed up, so nothing was lost. I just had to wait until Apple stores in California were open, and then when they finally were, I was able to take it in, and then I had to wait like another, 10 days to get it fixed. So there was a bit of a delay on my research computer, and in the meantime, I was using my trusty old laptop back here, and my advisor was kind enough to let me use his computer as well, but it just wasn't the same because I had to get everything set up, and it was just a long process to get things, sorted on those other two machines other than my own research computer. So that was the main reason. And I think I also realized there were some aspects of the project that I hadn't really addressed yet, and those ended up taking more time than I expected, as well as the figure creation. One thing I didn't realize about paper writing was actually how long it takes to make a figure for your paper, because when it's in the paper, it's final. It has to look really good, right? And I'm pretty meticulous with how I make my figures, and so is my advisor. So between the two of us, it's like we can always find little things that are like, oh, this figure needs to look a little bit better. You should have this legend here, or you should have this dotted line there, or you should, do this or do that. So that's one thing I've realized about the paper writing process that I didn't account for before, was just how long it actually takes to get a publishable looking quality figure. And so those are probably the main things I would say delayed me last quarter. So last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about self-study. So some of you may know that I actually was planning on taking a general relativity course this quarter. It would have been my first course ever in the subject. And just based on the other stuff going on that I've just mentioned with my teaching and my research and the proposal writing and the paper, I just realized that because this general relativity course really isn't a requirement for me, I've satisfied all my course requirements, I don't really need to take it. And if I'm going to be honest, I think the structure of the GR course that is going to be presented this quarter, it's a little bit kind of strange in the sense that it's being taught by two separate faculty, and there's going to be different expectations for each. And the way they did it this quarter is just not what I would have expected in normal quarters, but that's fine. That's just how things go sometimes. And I looked at the syllabus essentially, and I saw that it essentially just covered everything that I learned in that MIT Open Courseware series that I made a video about a few weeks ago. And so I figured, I've already seen the material that's probably going to be covered. There's going to be homework, and if I'm going to be honest, I don't really want to do homework if I don't have to. And so I figured, I think I'll just self-study it some more this quarter and supplement what I've already learned last quarter from the MIT General Relativity course that I watched online. And so I bought a few resources that will help me with that. A Student's Guide to General Relativity by Norman Gray. As you may know, I'm a big fan of the Student's Guide series. And I just wanted a very short intro book into the subject that has worked out exercises and problems for me to do that I can check the answers to. And this was the thing that came up on my list. It's very short. It's like barely over 100 pages in the material that covers GR. And it just gives you sort of the bare bones essentials you need to develop a sort of mathematical and adequate understanding of the subject to do calculations. Because last quarter, when I was watching the MIT General Relativity series, I wasn't doing any of the assignments or whatever. I was just watching the lectures and just writing down notes. So I think this quarter I'll focus more on doing problem solving with general relativity to augment my own understanding. So it's kind of interesting, actually, when I think about it, how the subject that really got me into physics, which was general relativity, because I read Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time in high school, is the subject that I've never taken a formal course in, but I'm self-studying. And in some ways, I actually much prefer that because I feel like I get to answer my own curiosities and I can tailor the studying to my own desires and wants. So yeah, that's essentially what is on the table for me this quarter. Hope you guys found that fairly interesting and comprehensive. And I think what I might be doing is I might be vlogging a little bit more because I don't know if I'll have enough time on certain weeks to just, make a planned video, but I might just vlog my week and show you guys what it's kind of like. So maybe stay tuned for some vlogs. They'll probably be on a weekly basis sort of thing. And And yeah, I think that's it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this was an informative video. I hope it gives you an idea of what a quarter or a term can be like in school when you're in graduate school, especially when you're in your later years. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll hope to catch you in another video. Have a good one.